You can tell more about someone in the first 10 minutes of meeting them than most people realize, but only if you know what to look for. Most people go on first dates trying to impress the other person or trying to see if there's chemistry or attraction or a vibe. And don't get me wrong, yes, those things matter a lot. But truth is, if that's what your main focus is, that's the reason why you keep wasting time on people that feel right at first, but drain you later. In this video, I'm going to teach you 3 things you should actually pay attention to on a first date if you want to know if going on a second date makes sense, right? And trust me, these are things you have not been taught to look for. I had a client tell me, like a lot of clients tell me oftentimes, that she could never really tell early on when someone was genuine, right? She'd leave a date thinking, wow, that went amazing. Then 2 months later, what have you, she's exhausted. She's anxious from not understanding where they're at and what's going on. And quite frankly, she's disappointed yet again. So we slowed everything down. And I told her, stop paying so much attention to everything they say or what they say, and start paying more attention to how your body feels about them, towards them. Like really tap into that, like truly, because your first date's not about finding your forever person. And a lot of times people get caught up on, let me come to learn this person, this first date, get to know them and see if they could be the one or there's potential there for all that, right? That's not what the first date's about, right? The first date is about reading your first impressions correctly. And first impressions are more of an organic experience. It's more of like what's going on with you physiologically, your body, right? How your system's responding to this person, not all the things you're learning about them. That's a piece of it. Yes, the things they say absolutely matters, but that's not what the focal point is of a first date. Once that sunk in for her and she got it, within 2 dates, she started noticing everything she used to miss when dating guys. And for the first time, she walked away from a guy who was good on paper before it became bad for her peace. So let's talk about the 3 things you should actually be paying attention to on a first date if you want to date smarter than harder, of course, right? That's what we're trying to do, right? All right, just checking. First is you want to pay attention to how your nervous system feels, not just your emotions. Your body will tell the truth way before your mind will, right? So whenever you're sitting across from them, do you feel relaxed or performative? Do you feel like you have to put on a little bit to stay engaged with them and for them to stay interested and still like you and to be like a good flow of things, right? Do you feel like you can breathe, or do you feel like you're being evaluated? So if your energy feels tense, or you're overthinking how you came across to them, right? Or you leave feeling drained instead of energized, that's data. That's your nervous system saying, this doesn't feel safe. Listen to it. Real connection feels calm, not chaotic, not unsure, not questionable. Listen to that, right? Pay attention to how organically yoked it feels for you, not just your giddiness towards them. See, what a lot of people confuse is the fact that their emotions are in there, the dopamine's trying to kick in, or the excitement's there, the adrenaline rush, because maybe they're attracted to this person physically, and they typically are the type of person that they would go for, right? So they get all, giddy about that, and they're paying attention to that part, right? More than just organically how well they mesh to that other person's energy, aura, all the things, right? And so it can confuse your impression of them because you're reading it based off of your excitement for the potential of what could be versus what's really happening in real time. Second, you gotta pay attention to whether the conversation feels balanced or managed. So that means, do you both carry the rhythm of the dialogue, right? Is there like a tennis match? Is it like a hit the ball over the net and they hit it back, right? Or do you feel like a host entertaining a guest, to where, yeah, they're responsive to you and they're entertaining you back, right? But you're the one doing the hoops and the hurdles to keep the conversation alive, or you have to bring up the new topics, or you have to transition things, and they're just kind of like being responsive all the time, but not, initiating, right? People reveal a lot through the flow of a first conversation. You can learn a lot there. If you're always the one steering or filling the silent spaces and gaps and moments or rescuing the awkward pauses, then you're already over functioning, right? Healthy interest feels reciprocal, not like an interview you have to run. So you want to look out for, do they seem interested enough to where there's an organic flow back from their end, like it's coming from your end, to where you don't feel like you're carrying something, you feel like you're carrying it together, right? And they have just as much desire to carry it with you like you do, right? Or does it feel like a workshop to where you're piecing together how to craft a successful conversation here? To where you're doing more thinking about what you need to say next or how you need to navigate it next so it continues to go well versus it just flowing like it should. So really watch for whether they ask you follow-up questions either about something you just said or about yourself. Do they stay curious, right? Or do they just wait for you to get done talking, wait for their turn so they can talk? To where you realize it's really about them just wanting to be heard or hear themselves speaking, or, they like to talk or whatever, but they're not really focused on connecting with you. And third, this one's huge. Pay attention. You really want to look to see whether you feel permission to be imperfect. This is one that most people miss completely, right? If someone's presence makes you feel like you have to be your best self, you got to show up on your A game to be there with them, right? You are effectively performing, not connecting, right? It's like when you show up to a job interview, you feel, I got to be my best self. Now, obviously, the idea is you want to show up and be yourself, but put your best foot forward, right? But, a job interview makes you feel like, no, I got to show all my best stuff because I'm trying to get this job to take care of my livelihood, right? Pay my bills. And this is really important for my career. It's big for my survival, right? See, keyword survival, resources to survive. This is not a job interview though, right? This is a date. This is a something that's supposed to be aligned, right? It's supposed to match and make sense. So even though in a job interview, you should still hopefully feel like you can be imperfect or you don't have to be a perfect person, but you want to put your best foot forward. But it makes more sense to want to be at your best on that interview because it represents a lot of necessary things for you to live. But you don't need this person in front of you. So if you feel like you can't have a flaw and you have to be on your A game and be immaculate, something's off in that. Real compatibility always starts with authenticity. So if you can't laugh, stumble on your words, right, have a blooper or whatever, and it be lighthearted about it, or even share a small vulnerable moment. Keyword small, right? Not for all you guys that want to go dump in your whole life story and a lot of deep stuff on the first date. It's supposed to be fun still, right? But if you can't share a small vulnerable moment without seeing judgment or feeling that from their body language or whatever you're getting back from them energetically, then you're not being met in the middle, you're being measured. When someone's energy invites your realness, that's your green flag. That says, oh, this person actually is making sense for me organically because I can just be me, whoever that person is, without having to put on a certain cap or a version of myself or point out all the best pieces of myself. And it feels accepted. It feels invited in to their world to learn more, to mesh more. Remember, a first date is not a test of perfection. It's a test of peace. That means asking yourself while you're in the middle of that date, at some point, right, when you check in with yourself, right, in your own mind and think to yourself, can I be me around you, right? Evaluating this in real time. Does my body trust this connection that's happening right now, right? And even, am I drawn to you, but grounded still? See, not just that I'm drawn to you because I'm attracted to you and maybe you're my type or the person I usually go for. So I'm excited about this possibly going well and I like you in that sense to that degree. But do I also feel safe and in a secure space with you, right? Or do I feel like I'm on eggshells or shaky ground or something, right? Does the loop complete itself? Not just my desires, but does the experience I'm having with you make sense to my desires? See, because it's questions like those that will tell you way more than any checklist ever could. And I'm telling you, if you can master that level of awareness, you'll stop confusing excitement for true chemistry and for true alignment for that matter, right? And you'll start picking people who feel right for the right reasons. If this is resonating with you and you're finally ready to learn how to tell up front and early if someone's worth your time or not, so you can stop wasting time with the wrong people and spend it with the right kind of people more so, and you want help learning that personally and cultivating yourself in that way, then email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, only if you're truly ready to put that work in actual one-on-one coaching sessions. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching on the time, space, resources, whatever the obstacle is for you to do that level of work, then at least start at the foundation. Start at the beginning. It's something that's more manageable for you, and email or DM me the word or words Date Smart to take my Date Smart the Vetting Masterclass, where in 90 minutes, I break down my 3-step formula that takes what we started here today on that first date and cultivates all the rest of the formula to be able to know within 3 dates or less, if not by the end of the first month, if someone's worth your time or if you need to move on. So you can spend more time with those right people and less time with the wrong people. And you can do that at your own pace, on your own time, at a resource level you can afford. But if nothing else, do something to get in the game and get off the sidelines of your life. Let's get it.